And we are live talking about a TV show I have a love and hate relationship with, The Boys. The new season just started with episode 1 and episode 2. This is the final season, and we will do a breakdown of it, a review of it, a discussion about it. Um, so yeah, we won't waste too much time.
Um,
So I'll ask you, Dragon, what did you think of the first episode? We will go episode by episode. What did you think of the first episode, Dragon?
so on the 10, it is what it is. Because I'd be curious. Okay, we knew we were getting 8 episodes.
Yeah, that's basically the format they
And
always had.
we knew, I wish it was 10 because they've already deviated from the comics themselves. Where, be thankful, a lot of the characters have deviated from the comics, some of them. Because so the first episode is going over. There's one comic with the plane crash from last season where he downed the plane, right?
Yeah, that was
And
very fun
then
throwback.
there's the thing about it is I was going to be very curious how much they're going to go into modern MAGA and Trump in it. That's why I was telling you to listen for it. It is okay. So they had to have filmed that like with the gulags or the internment camps is like the FEMA camp conspiracy theory, because to give a little bit of preference, the people who are doing The Boys, which is Amazon, they were going extremely political. Like, to see, I was telling my friend, I kind of blanked out.
Hollywood political? I'm not surprised.
Actually, no. My friend had to remind me of the season 3. Like, I kind of blinked out when we went over season 3. The scene where the
I want to forget I've seen season
you
3
don't want to.
film.
I won't do it because I'm like, oh, my friend reminded me of that. That's when he stopped watching.
I want to forget I've seen season 2 and 3. Like, they are the
Actually,
big reason why I have that love and hate relationship with the show, because I did like season 1 a lot. That's like one of my favorite seasons of the show ever. And I also like season 4 so much. But then season 2 and 3 in between, it's just utter disgust. I don't know what they were thinking when they
3
made these
was
two
gross
seasons.
out humor because the infamous scene that everyone forgets is like, why was that necessary? Like, we don't know how they're going to play out. Like, you can know what happens in The Boys, and I have a high doubt it's gonna play out similar. So again, you got to bear in mind The Boys has to finish out, because this is a theory I have. It's going to finish out because you see it in the episode. Well, I think,
But they said that that's the final season. It was
no,
planned.
what I'm saying is they're going to take the last 2 arcs where they kill and stop Homelander, and they're also going to have to probably stop Billy the Butcher.
Oh, that's interesting.
So there were 2 arcs, because the final arc in The Boys takes place a long time after the initial, where Billy goes insane and is going to detonate a bomb with the anti-soup virus, which would kill anybody with compound V in it and possibly kill humans. Huey eventually kills him on top of the Empire State Building, and then him and Starlight get together. But that's like an epilogue story, and it was an epilogue to the original run, because the main run of Boys ends with like Homelander uniting the Christian superheroes, and then he goes on to take over the White House. They're going to use a variance of this, but I don't know how much they're going to use. So I usually rate it pretty well. Like, the episode starts off with the plane crash gets out from the comics, And instead of him lasering and killing the room, like Sage isn't in the comics. Sage is there. Homelander gets embarrassed and tries to figure out how it got out. And it was originally Queen Maeve
I think
who originally did that in the
I think
comics.
it's Sage in this show. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Sage.
No, it was the Starlights. Because remember, she got into the studio.
Oh right, I forgot.
And she has her own agenda.
Yeah.
But she knows she can't stand against Homelander.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, they're using like that, and then they try to use AI. Basically, it was created with AI. It's very modern, and then they introduced the teenage kicks, which were teenagers that were created as babies with compound V. They were injected at birth.
By the way, I forgot to mention that. We will spoil the entire first two episodes.
Probably first two episodes, yes.
So that's the warning now. We are late because we are like 6 minutes in, but
so I'm not gonna see. There's a part where then he needs to stop. Like Homelander, it's like eventually there's that moment Homelander has to snap. Because these episodes are all probably going to be an hour to an hour and a half. So
I would be surprised if they do an hour and a half for an episode. Maybe the final episode, but usually shows they like to keep it simple, the format.
Now, the fun fact is, I was surprised they went around with. There was a story where the Democrats were. So there's points in the show. They think it's owning chuds, but it's really owning liberals. Because they hate the fact that Homelander, I hate to say it, the show is carried by the Homelander actor.
That's true. I agree with that. Like, even the season I don't like, I always thought Homelander was great.
And the thing is,
yeah,
they keep trying to turn him into a villain. So he's
but he is a villain. That's the thing. He is a villain.
He is bad. He is going to go insane, but Billy's worse.
Yeah, that's true.
But the thing about this is Billy is being taken in a different path because, like, so Homelander has to figure out. He also throws out a line which is related to IRL. He goes, "Have you seen the memes about me in the videos?" He goes, "Okay." And Sage is like, "I'm on that." That's when she gets the teenage kicks, which are like the versions of Teen Titans in the universe, to do the cringe TikTok videos.
Yeah.
But you learn more about them in episode 2. But they are... How are you, sir?
Hello there.
The idea with the boys is it's going through one of the arcs where A-Train gets killed. The Deep is doing a Red Pill or Sigma podcast.
Manosphere.
Manosphere. The thing about it is, okay, Black Noir can speak, but he chooses not to because this is Black Noir 2.0. Because this is the thing. But we also learn as well that the Vought lady is still alive.
Yeah.
But we understand what her mutation is now.
She has a split personality.
No, she grew another telepathic brain on the back of her head.
She was talking to herself, no?
No. No. Under the wig is a fucking face.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought that
she got
was confusing.
She got a telepathic parasite.
I thought she was talking to herself.
It comes out in one of the episodes when she's in the vehicle. There's like a lot of little stuff that's the modern day because it's trying to build. He has to convince people to make sure he believes in himself. And then they introduce Allfather. Now, irony is Allfather is a black character from the comics. He's the leader of the Christian superheroes. Because what is the deviation in the story is after the plane gets down, eventually Homelander snaps. And like there's a scene in the comics, he takes this couple to go, "We love you, Homelander." And then he just dumps off and kills them. Then he says, "I'm going to take over the whole government." But he does it with the help of the Christian superheroes. Because we're not seeing a lot of the Christian superheroes. Allfather, his quirk is he does blinding light like he's like a Christian superhero. But I'm going to be honest, I have a high doubt they're going to go into his side story. His side story is he grew.
That's disgusting.
He has a. See, people do not know Garth Ennis.
He likes to provoke and piss off people.
He basically did the original run to take the piss out of it. So the candidate that's not in the show is a president that was retarded and shit on himself that was supposed to be George W. Bush. Allfather is supposed to be a black evangelical preacher that has an attraction to minors.
Wow.
Yes. Be thankful this arc might get changed.
Yeah.
We don't know
The
what they're
comics
going.
sound so terrible.
Huh?
The comics, they sound terrible.
The comics, Love Sausage wasn't as bad, but it's also that point of Homelander then also has to concoct a plan to get Starlight and the Starlight Billy out, so he leaks that he's going to kill them in the camp. Now, there is a scene in the comics that gets duplicated. Homelander goes, because he keeps trying to find people the way to get him to love him. And he wants to understand why Starlight likes a normal guy like him and hated him. And because he was a lab-grown creation, he doesn't know how to relate. Because there's like a scene where he gets the flashed by the holy light that he sees God. Basically, it's like people speak in tongues. But the guy, it's like the first episode goes through the plots that's setting up the plane crash, the president. Then he wants to pass hate speech laws. You can't speak out against.
That sounds like Canada.
Well, no. The funny thing is that comes from a meme that the Democrats wanted to do, and they thought Trump would limit free speech. But the irony is, it came from a bunch of Democrats last year or 2 years
And
ago.
it came from Canada, the so-called liberals.
No, the funny thing is, a little fun fact, that about the people who wanted to ban hate speech, because leftists like memes until someone did Attack on Titan and someone beheading Biden as a Titan. Huh. But there's a lot of IRL inside millennial humor in the show, because Homelander's trying to learn how to be loved. Because in this version, he's solidifying control of the government by people liking him. So
like Canada.
He has the senator on his side. He has the vice president on his side. They're doing propaganda out of the ass. It's still worth watching, but it is almost too close to some reality of a lot of millennial humor.
It's actually so close to Canada. It's hilarious.
Yes, more than so America. But then
it's Canada. I'm telling you, it's straight up Canada. It's what's going on right now.
So. The funny other part is they go to like a guy to dig a person out of the camp, because the Deep is they're all trying to search out. I already mentioned the podcast, because there's a lot of little quirky moments in here. And it's like the Deep is like, I gave up on women, and it's like he's now screwing animals.
He like octopuses anyway.
No, he screws all the animals. That's in the comic.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
He's
so
effing around
screwed up.
octopus.
I mean, the comic is they're sticking true, but the show, and then they're using like the Sigma cast with the soundboard, the teenage kicks you see. There's the other half of how Sage is consolidating power through Homelander. Then I guess praying that Homelander doesn't kill them all. But Homelander then concocts a plan to release his father. That's Soldier Boy,
Yeah,
the guy from Supernatural. In the comics, Soldier Boy is just a kind of crappy knockoff, like terrible superhero that has been killed a couple of times. He's not immortal.
that's
He's not.
interesting.
So they're taking it different because the whole thing is the virus. Now, Sage then says, "You're not attached to your father, right?" Like, it's not a matter if he dies. I think it's in the second. But there's this whole thing. He's trying to realize his issues, why he's not loved, why people don't like him. So they break out of the camp, which looks like something comedical. But they have to use the blogger who writes adult films. And he has an earthworm power. I know I'm butchering this. I should have watched it twice. But see, to get them out, because it's like Homelander busts them and goes, "Yeah, we know you had bombs the entire time, or Molotovs. We just did everything." So they escape the camp, and then Billy
Adrian helps them with a Quicksilver moment.
at the last moment. Now, they don't say that he has like that Quicksilver power in the comics. I think that's comedical more. Because in the comic, he gets killed because Huey, Starlight, and Billy like capture him, and he shows no remorse for trying to grape her.
Oh my.
And he gets his head beaten in with a pole.
You know what? I will be honest. I prefer the show based on what you told me. Simply
He
because he got a character arc going on there.
he got a better character arc than he did in the comics.
Yeah.
And then they mourn him his death, and then they say he was a hero as propaganda and the Starlights killed him.
Yeah.
So it ends with them saying, "But well, we're going to work on the virus." But there's also the weird break in this episode too. They're taking a different route with the female. The female, well, she's called the female of the species, or the female, aka Kimiko. She's Frenchie's girlfriend.
And
She
now she
learns to
talks
speak.
apparently because they want her to talk.
She just had to talk. She did not talk in the comics.
And in the first 4 seasons as well, so I don't know why they did that change.
See, that was odd to you, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
apparently she was in the Philippines. So it's that point of they do the Super Friends thing. They go rescue Frenchie in Mother's Milk. Because Mother's Milk doesn't have the same Mother's Milk arc. There's a reason he's called Mother's Milk. There's a real part of this. And then A-Train gets killed. They do the funeral. That's when he sees what he thinks is God. And then he has a revelation through faith. It's very much, that's the first episode. It ends with Billy doing, and they're saying they're going to do the virus, arguing about the virus and how do you test it, right?
Yeah.
It shows the propaganda that they want to expand the camps to take in more Starlighters. The senators like, "Oh, we'll do it."
Do you want to add anything else on
No,
the
that's pretty
first
much it.
episode?
It's a good episode. I give it a 10 out of 10, but it still has that gore and humor.
Yeah.
But the
So
thing,
now that you shared your thoughts, except if you'd like to add more, I will be talking about what I
I'm
think of
just
it.
gonna say, I think it's setting up a foundation that I think it's a foundation on how they're going to do the twist he goes insane, but I'm not sure. Because they're trying to balance out Billy killing people, like him killing his father, basically. Like he goes in and kills his father.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be. That happens in the comic in the last arc of the story. He goes around killing people close to him. So I
So
forgot about
I guess that's my goal
here.
now.
Go.
I really like this episode, and I if the season keep uh, making quality content like what we just experienced, maybe this will be my second favorite season. Now, what did I think? Well, I think the biggest flaw of this first episode would be some of the dialogue was off-putting, and that's something that comes back with the second episode for me. But I'd say some of the characters they really talk in a very odd way, and that was always some kind of trope with the boys because they like these meta comments, they like these satire and that kind of stuff. But sometimes I just don't think it works. In this first episode, it didn't all
Hold on.
work.
You're thinking, is it how the deep and everybody, how they got the teenage kicks being used as TikTok influencers, or the deep doing like the Sigma podcast?
No, the podcast I thought was good. I will be honest, I've seen it late yesterday, so my
It's
memory
fresher.
is a bit fuzzy on it. Episode
Yeah.
two
I
for
should.
me is much more fresh for me, but again, it's really one instance that rubbed me off the wrong way. Um, Now it kind of reminds me of season two and three because season two and three I could not stand the dialogue, the humor, all of that. That was like the biggest sin of these two seasons. And some of the plot didn't work. Some of the plot was very contrived, and the characters they were not so great. And anyway, to go back to season five, this first episode was overall very good. Um, I will be honest, season four is a blur to me. I remember liking it, but outside of cows and the actor that played Negan in Walking Dead, I don't remember a lot from
You're
season
talking
four.
about the ghost in his head.
Yeah,
So the
exactly.
thing about I'll say is a little bit of the meta humor. Like the meta humor, I do forget it, but I do think the meta humor is a little cringe. The meta humor was in the comic. See, it doesn't work in a show like She-Hulk, but it works here
And
because
I agree with you.
it's dark satire, but it's
Yeah,
almost cheesy because it's like there's moments that are interesting that are like break the fourth wall. It's like when Sage does the advice. It's in the episode. They go, "Can I speak Frank?" And she has the scared look on her face.
yeah.
You don't like it. It's like all the people are afraid to step up to Homelander because they're going to get like. And
So,
see, Black Noir is trying to be the Black Noir from the comics. Not
so
speaking now. So
so now now that I said my big issue with the first episode, I thought the recap of the entire TV show was really good in the first episode at the start of it. I thought the fight between Black Noir and Starlight was very fun, and the unmasked moment with the plane footage was solid. Homelander 18 competition in popularity was kind of funny. I thought the music was very good. The Manosphere commentary was very funny. There was also a funny DEI and racist comment that was hilarious. I like that one.
no, it's the whole trick. It's the people with soups. People have discrimination against them. It's the Valerie moment. when she's the vice president.
and it's mocking the idea of the eye. But yeah, funny how Homelander thinks people will love him or as bad as him. He straight up said it at some places. The Deep being scared of Homelander made sense because the Deep is really a weakling, to be honest. Funny meta comment on properly ending a show, and hopefully they will land it well. Funny how the group really fell into a trap. A Train. Now let's talk about A Train. A Train, I had a love and hate relationship with the character throughout the show. I'd say A Train in the first season was quite good. Season 2 and season 3 were two letdowns for him in my books. I believe season 4 they gave me decent content because I don't remember hating A Train that much. But I think here in this episode, and again, I said it, but I will repeat myself. Spoiler again. A Train dies. And he doesn't die like randomly. It's a chain of event that leads to him dying. So the chain of event is him saving Yui and the others from Homelander. So he stood up to Homelander, something he didn't do prior, and not only stood up to Homelander, but at some point he had the occasion to just run through someone and take a life, the way he did take Yui girlfriend life
No,
in
he
the pilot.
dodged. He
Yeah,
dodged.
let me finish. So he
Yeah.
could have taken a life like that, but you know what? Because now he's grown into a true superhero. He didn't do it. He dodged the lady. He basically proved the viewer and everyone that's following the show he changed. He's no longer the season 1 selfish piece of garbage we had. Um, and again, I think season 1 A Train was great. It's really season 2 and season 3 I think did this service to the guy. Season 4 it was relatively good, and it's a great send off because now we get proper growth where instead of just ending someone else's life, well, he dodges that person. He doesn't do it. He doesn't end a life like that, and because of that, well, he loses control, and there's a big crash he is into, and that crash leads to Homelander taking his life, and that was great. I think this is the best way you can send off A Train, and I'm satisfied with this character arc
How
throughout
did
the entire
you
show.
like Old Father?
Uh, I didn't care that much. There are characters like
See,
that.
you didn't know, like he's
I didn't
supposed to
know.
be, because there's a lot of heroes. Like they said, General Mayhem is like with the military.
Yeah. So something else to really enjoy with this episode, there were a lot of very good messaging throughout the episode. Nice message about conflict being used for distraction, and that's poking fun at Trump. Nice message of power not leading to happiness, and I I really feel like this message can apply to any politician that's in quest of greater power and more influence. And will they self-reflect enough if they see that kind of episode with that kind of messaging? I don't think so. People are just not wired that way. Now the next team and messaging I really liked. There was a nice Trump reference during the annual meeting with the shareholders. Um, Again, I think this first episode it did launch off the season very well. I got hooked, and I felt like I was watching something in the veins of the first season, and I really liked the first season. I will never say it enough. The first season is a masterpiece. It's one of the best TV show out there. Um, and with this episode, well, that's a great start. It's not as good, but it's in the right track. And I will give this first episode of The Boys final season a 9.7 out of 10 because I don't have a lot more to say. I think we covered a lot of ground. we talked a lot about the lore and such thing. So I think it's the perfect moment to dive deep into the second episode. What did you think of the second episode?
So the second episode, when I knew what the name of it was,
That was Teenage Kicks.
yes, the teenage kicks are introduced because there's supposed to be a story with the teenage kicks, but they're not doing it. They say Maeve is kind of a whore, so she has a kid that is like one of the basically in the teenage kicks that is used to test the virus. So he goes, how are we going to find a hero equivalent to Homelander? So they know Soldier Boy isn't around. Soldier Boy would be there, but details,
Yeah.
But see, Soldier Boy's powers are enhanced entirely for the show. So, like, he's not Captain America. They just did it for the guy. So they used the teenage kicks and they wanted to use Rock Hard. Rock Hard had a depression episode because he's supposed to be like the Thing. So it's made on.
Wow.
He's supposed to be. So all of the teenage kicks are all sexual deviants, delinquents. He basically did unspeakable acts to the statue of Lincoln at the Lincoln Memorial, and he got ridiculed.
Gross.
So it's in the comic, right?
Yeah.
He basically violated the Lincoln Memorial and Lincoln statue. And then that's how they get it, right? So they capture him to test, the virus.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them are pure deviants. Like the cat girl actually uses a litter box.
I didn't catch that one. That's funny.
You don't. There's a lot of that's kind of it but in this episode, he basically unthaws his dad officially. And that he's like, oh, I need you, basically. I need you for whatever reason. Now, realistically, right? He's using them, like he says, because he wants connection. And people like Soldier Boy, but there's still that whole thing that Vought betrayed him and turned him over to the Russians.
Yeah.
And then they said he was a traitor.
Yeah.
So there's this thing of, and I mean, the actor is good. So they're using him how to test the virus because there's a small chance that the virus will kill humans. So
they needed to know it wasn't the case.
That's why they use the farm, right? That's why you see flying animals, the other things. That's actually real. That's in the comics as well. But it's largely the trick about this is they need to make sure this virus works. So they were going to test it on the teenage kicks. Now, it goes through this whole episode where they have to see, eventually Billy gets tracked. See, Homelander's also trying to figure out why people like him, get people to like him. And he comes up with a new scheme. He's going to probably try to use religion. So, religion or belief, and then eventually figure out how to. Because Huey, remember in the last episode, he's reflecting on what Huey said to him. He just saves people because. But he has to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, It goes through the entire episode where they have to dodge Soldier Boy, then get this virus over to the Teenage Kicks house. So, and then they're still rounding up Starlight people because of the Twitter monitoring and the TikTok monitoring and the YouTube one. And then basically the Cat one and the Rocket one make it back to the house. And then they eventually get killed by the virus. But also affected is Soldier Boy. Now, I was going to be curious if they were to kill off Soldier Boy this way, but he gets back up. So they know that the virus is working. But
Yeah.
there's also comments there before. Homelander's trying to hide the fact he loved his thing. You cover a second.
Yeah. So I guess I'll take over because he is away. I think episode 2 is a step down. My issues with the first episode, well, they came back, but I won't be covering yet the episode. I will let Dragon come back eventually, but I think the boys, they finish off the show with a 5th season, and that's perfect. The show is finishing at the right moment in my books, because a lot of shows, they drag on for way too long. And I think in the current era of TV, I think 5 seasons seems fair. It's no longer the days of 20 episodes a season, and it's no longer the era of we have a show for like 6 to 9 months a year and we have a season each year. It's no longer like that. I mean, The Boys started in 2019. We are in 2026 and it's season 5. And a very similar case can be seen with the Fallout TV show. It came out in 2024 and season 2 arrived by the end of 2025, early 2026. So again, time changes. And I think at some point you gotta close the ties. You need to close the book. I'm fine with reboots eventually if you run out of ideas of new things. I think reboots are a thing with comics. So that's fine if you do reboots. But I also think stories at some point they should end. So having The Boys finishing with the 5th season is a great idea. I think it's a great send off. And there are other shows that didn't get a 5th season. So we need to be grateful for that aspect. Again, I wasn't a fan of season 2 and 3. You can find the reviews on my channel. I did reviews. Season 1, masterpiece. Season 4, there's also a review of season 4 on my channel. I called it a return to form because I did like season 4 a lot. But like other shows, I will give a great example. The Umbrella Academy. 4th season of what we had. That was meh. So having The Boys ending there is actually perfect. I didn't see Gen V season 2. And I will be honest, I didn't like season 1. There's a review on the channel. That's why you don't see a season 2 Gen V review here. So the dragon is back.
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry, so my phone called. My phone, when I got my new phone, it has 2 of them in it. So it's all great. So they're trying to get to the point they can kill the Teenage Kicks or to test it. The problem is Mother's Milk spares the Raven Girl. That's why I said they're based on the Teen Titans. It's really terrible, by the way.
I didn't realize that.
Did you not get it? She had ravens?
I didn't
really?
get it.
Go back. That's why I said go back and watch it twice. That's usually So
I usually
there's
don't, but
actually
that's
another
funny.
guy that looks like Robin.
Wow, really?
Yep.
That's funny.
Or Tim Drake. Yep.
Wow.
Fun fact. See, it was made. The Boys was made as dark satire. Okay.
Yeah, this I got that much.
Basically, there was. Yeah, they just didn't have Maeve's like quote unquote bastard child. Yeah, no, that's actually in the comics, but they details. No, but Rock Hard eventually gets killed because they trap Soldier Boy in there, and they show he's affected, but he gets back up at the end. The rest die.
Yeah. Maybe he gets
Now,
back up because he was a fully formed adult and it's Soldier Boy. I mean, he's meant to be a like Homelander, but maybe weaker. I don't know.
um, I'm gonna be curious if he survives because he was human.
Oh, maybe.
But
Hopefully, they will explain it
you
well.
gotta remember
They need to explain it
you
well.
got to remember, Homelander is looking for uh he's looking
Acceptance
no,
and
not just acceptance. He's looking for the original version of Compound V.
yeah,
That's what he wants. That's the type that was given to Stormfront. It's kind of a knockoff. That's why she was still. I still think that was a crime, by the way. It wasn't a she. Okay? Originally, Stormfront was supposed to be a Nazi Ubermensch.
oh, interesting.
He was originally supposed to be a Nazi Superman
Wow.
from World War II. Yeah, he eventually gets his ass beat and killed, right?
Yeah,
But
they changed it because woman.
they changed her into being her arc. Now, the fun fact is he's also been searching still for the original Compound V, which is the purest form that would make him near immortal. So there's a point where does that make Soldier Boy immune? Because remember, he still looks young despite being alive. It's like Nick Fury and the Infinity Formula. He can live for a very long time. So it ends in an interesting note with the people dying and they have to quarantine the house. And the Deep almost bites it, basically. He tells him to go at the end.
Yeah,
Because we know in the next episode, his kid's returning.
that's interesting.
So he's been off. I mean, it's going to be interesting with the plot because they're going to have to figure out they know the virus works, but they don't know if it's strong enough for Homelander. So there's going to be a slight change. It's going to be like, but the whole episode was to say that they intended to test the virus. Then Mother's Milk left the Raven chick who has the powers go with her two crows. She lost her other crows because her other two ravens because the cat girl ate them.
That's interesting.
Yeah, more you know. But it's
Yeah,
a solid, it's a weirder, it's like a good episode. Both these episodes I say are good at the start. They do have that shock humor in it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It does.
They have the shock humor, but it's not the gross out humor of like the gay
Season
guy
3.
blowing up the guy's dick.
Yeah,
But no, there's a parts of season 3 that was just shock humor.
season 3 was unbearable, to be honest.
Like the gay guy kills his lover by doing insertion and blowing up. Yeah, no, no, no. Look, the problem. Okay, so the trick is there? But I will say, will the messaging subtly the politics get worse? Maybe. It's going to start mirroring IRL, but I don't know how much. Because what I'm going to say with the boys' final season, everyone is saying it's very much super, super political. If this makes sense, Multi.
Yeah,
It's very,
it was always political, to be honest.
but no, they're pulling a lot on Trump and conservatives. But to be honest, I'll say this. The reason why I was happy to see the final season, it's because I want to see how they were going to end the show. Because the comics have a weird ending, okay?
Yeah. And I'm
Because
also glad they are ending the show because, as I said, when you're away, usually some shows they go on for too long. And now I think we are in the era of TV shows having five
can
season,
you
and
can you
it's a good run.
refresh me? Did they kill the legend off yet, or was the legend not in the show?
I can't remember.
Fuck. Let's go
All
back and
I
look.
remember is I think season 2 and 3.
See, I'm gonna have to go back and look because a lot of this is because if they try to do the Billy killing the world and he's gonna eventually have to kill Mother's Milk, there is some foreshadowing in this episode. None of them think they're gonna survive.
That's interesting.
And that comes from a later comic in the arc where after the whole thing is done, when he wants to still set off the virus, he goes back and kills Frenchie, the legend, Mother's Milk. Like he's already killed his father.
Yeah.
But there's also in this episode too, it showed Billy cuddling his dog. So, hey, he's still human to a degree. So,
Do you
and I
want to
mean,
add anything on the second episode before I go on with my
no, I'm
review?
good. You can go.
Okay, so I guess that's my shot at it. Now, I will start by saying I loved season 1. I loved season 4. So far, season 5, I like it. But I will be blunt and honest. The second episode wasn't as great in terms of how they had dialogue and in terms of humor itself. I think this season, or I should say that episode, did gave me PTSD from season um 2 and 3, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully, it doesn't get as bad as these 2 seasons, but this episode really felt like a drop off. So let's start with my first issue. I kind of already hinted at it, but let's get into it. Some of the attempts at humor were unbearable. Um, and again, I've just seen it, but that episode went like a blur. So I cannot pinpoint exactly where, but that bothered me. And there was a second moment like that in that same episode, and I will say more awful attempts at humor later on. Um, so this episode, really, the downside of it is the humor. I don't think it worked. Um, there are funny moments, but the bad moments take away from the good. And this is the unfortunate part when you have hit and miss kind of humor. It's what's going on. Now, I was overly negative, but I still enjoyed that episode. I still strongly believe it's a downgrade from episode 1, but it's still quite a fun episode. So let's get into what I enjoyed. I think it's interesting how the vice president was having some inner conflict. Will she stand up to Homelander? Um, Now there was nice anti-Starlight propaganda. That was very nice, and that was really at the start of episode 2. Homelander being a narcissist was going back at the roots of that character, and that was quite fun. Homelander and Soldier Boy meeting again. That was kind of fun. Um, in the Vought meeting, Whiteout Homelander was also fun. The drink commercial was quite entertaining. Soldier Boy versus Bailey was fun. Socialist one liner was interesting. The virus being effective was well shown. And I think that episode went by very fast. Um, the idea is to test the virus, as you said. And so they did. And they basically ended lives, I think. They might come back. Soldier Boy survived. That's a sure thing. But that episode was fun. And it's a step down from episode 1, but it's a fun episode nonetheless. And I don't have a lot more to say, unfortunately. I think the first episode had more substance, and this second episode, it was needed, but it didn't feel as greatly done as the first one. Um, the humor is really the worst part of the second episode in my books, and I was thinking about grade I would give to this second episode, and I think it's a 8.5. It's still it's still a very good episode. It's just not as great as the first one, and I don't have a lot more to say. I enjoyed it. I'm excited about episode 3. I cannot wait for the show to end, and hopefully we will get a good ending. What you told me about the comics is promising. It looks fun. It looks entertaining.
The
Um,
comic has more. It's dark satire.
yeah, the TV show as well. But I don't have a lot more to say. Do you want to add anything else
No,
on
I'm
these
good.
first two?
I'm good.
Well, amazing.
I need to go over. You go take your little power nap.
Yeah. So, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Uh, I'll have stuff next week. More Crimson Desert. Uh, Monday I'll probably have. It's either Monday or Tuesday. I'll have my thing, and it's going to be on the Islamic takeover of place of the world and other Iran news, because there's been stuff in political. Then I'm going to have Crimson Desert to play. Later this month is the Diablo 4 expansion.
That seems fun.
So
So, in my end of the internet, well, in about an hour to an hour and a half, you and I will have a stream, a reaction stream. We will be reacting to some white supremacists and another Pierre Poilievre interview. I cannot wait to react to these two things. Um, Now, what else? I just finished the second um, playthrough of Resident Evil Requiem. I like the game. For the gaming channel, I will be doing a review of Requiem. Um, Outside of that, this week, movie reviews and the OG Splinter Cell. I cannot wait to play these classic games that are part of my childhood and my teenager years. I cannot wait to replay them after years of not touching these. Um, well, Tuesday, there's also a trio of terrible superhero movies that I will be covering, maybe with Matt. We'll see how it goes. But that will be Supergirl 1984. Terrible, terrible. I had seen it many years ago, but I ended up rewatching it for the podcast. Catwoman and Birds of Prey. That's the planning for Tuesday. And, um, well, the rest of the week, gaming. And um, next week, Thursday, are you available, Dragon? If you are, we will do a react stream shorter than
for
usual.
what? Sorry.
Thursday. Thursday.
For which one?
We will be reacting to something. I don't know yet. We'll look into it, but that we will need to do it shorter and earlier than usual. But if you're available, we could do that Thursday at 5 p.m. We could react to things if you're available. So that's the planning. Maybe Thursday we will have something, Dragon and I. But stay tuned. In roughly an hour to an hour and a half, we are reacting to things, Dragon and I, if Dragon doesn't fall to sleep.
I'll
Uh,
be awake.
Amazing. Well, with this, the next Boys review will be once episode 5, sorry, episode 5 drops. We will be covering 3, 4, 5 in one block, like tonight. So in about 3 weeks, we will be covering the Boys again. In about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I can't remember when exactly, but we will be covering Daredevil, Born Again, episode 4, 5, and 6. Once episode 6 drops. Uh, anyway, we are out for now, and talk to you soon, Dragon.